Strategy with Jason podcast. Jason podcast. Everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host. Jason Harris. Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Jason podcast. Everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host. Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Strategy with Jason. Today, I have a great guest, actually a friend of mine. Thanks. I would say a friend. Ivan, can I call you my friend?
I think you can.
I have the one, the only, the oh-so-famous Mr. Ivan Sandoval in the house. Ivan, what's up?
Hey, how are you, Jason? I was thinking about wearing orange today too, but I was like, no, I can't do it.
You got to do that next time we do this, though.
It'll
actually be fun. Well, I was commenting just before we recorded today that if there was an award for best dressed automotive expert, I'm pretty confident that you would win that award on a pretty regular basis. So
thanks.
I'm always impressed.
Credit to my wife. Credit to my wife to count.
That's right.
Definitely has some influence there.
Hey, Ivan, for everybody out there that's watching and listening right now and don't know kind of who you are and how you got started in the industry, I always like to kick off these podcasts with a little origin story. So what is the story behind Ivan Sandoval getting into this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Yeah, crazy. It's actually a pretty long story, to be honest. It was out of high school. I was looking for a job, and my dad used to always read AutoTrader magazines and things like that. And they were hiring in customer service, and I was able to get a job there, which was great because my dad pushed me to go to AutoTrader over insurance. I don't know what I would have done in insurance, but it was pretty cool. Like we delivered magazines, and I really got to know the dealers, old school dealers, like the guys that used to smoke cigarettes in their office. There'd be an ashtray about like this yay high when you went to go see them. And some of the old, if you guys remember, the old dealer principals would have these like elaborate living rooms upstairs, like had a couch with like maybe a bear's head or something like that.
They don't do that anymore. That's true.
It was smoky with a rug, big rug, and a big brown leather couch. Anyway, it was cool days, big oak chairs. So I was a kid, and I basically did the whole AutoTrader kind of. They went from print to online. So at a certain point, we obviously launched autotrader.ca, and then the business started to turn. And unlike other businesses, they were very adaptive in terms of making everything go digital. We brought in the website offering as well. And it was great because I got into digital really early. I did my own learnings as well, which there wasn't many back then. U of T and UBC were the only ones who offered like a certificate course.
Yeah, I remember that.
And most of the marketers back then were all print people. I was young, so they were already established. And one of the items back then that I still like today about a digital is always saving ad spend. And AutoTrader was a cost-effective way, the magazine was, of advertising because the newspapers were always more expensive. And once digital came, that was an even more cost-effective way of advertising. And so shortly thereafter, around 2011, 2012, I moved to Carnation Canada, which was a dealership group, still is a dealership group in the West GTA and Niagara region. And that was actually some of the best experience that I had because now I was dealership side. I was part of sales. I was really part of GM meetings. And because it was early on in digital, it was the type of group where it was kind of centralized to myself. I created their Facebook pages, YouTube pages, did a lot of SEO, which I still see today. It's crazy. Now I'm like competing with myself when I go see dealers. I'm like, oh, that's a page that I did. And the SEO is really strong. So we're gonna have to try and beat that because I'm on a different team now. But really great experience there. 7 a.m. meetings, like good sales and marketing. And from there, I did e-commerce for a year. Didn't like it. Any of you want to go to e-commerce from auto? A lot different. It's hard to do a 8-minute video on a hockey stick or whatever the case is. It's just a lot more fun. It's monthly. I found that e-commerce was way too quarterly. So as an auto guy, you get bored. And of course, the products, I missed the products and all of that. And so then after that, I went to Ford of Canada, had the Ford D3 program going on, which was fantastic. Bond Brand Loyalty was the agency that was executing the consultant portion of that. That was great because I started to travel the country, visiting Ford dealerships. And I really got to see the smaller guys, the smaller dealerships, having great conversations with them, again, trying to save them money, doing digital strategy, seeing, their needs and wants, trying to make them perform, trying to make them beat the big guys, and having really a voice. There were also some medium-sized and big-sized dealerships, and they had their own needs and wants. So that was really fun. After that, the program ended, and I was always in touch with autoTRADER. They have a lot of long-standing employees there, and unfortunately, it didn't work out at the time to join autoTRADER. So I joined Cox Automotive briefly for a year, had a great time there. My wife, Danielle, works there. And that organization, I met a lot of more dealers in that respect, again, in a consultant role there, and for a lot of different products, digital retailing, website. And then the opportunity came to join Traffic, which is autoTRADER's high-end digital only SEM agency wing division, and as a manager. And so now that's what I'm doing, is basically the same thing I was trying to do 10, 12 years ago, is saving dealerships money with their advertising spend, getting the most bang for your buck, and doing it in the way that Traffic does, using remarketing audiences and automation and machine learning, which we're going to talk about, in order to get the best bang for your buck. And now I'm here. I met you a couple of years ago when I was with Ford, I think, right?
Yeah. We've had some good times. It's fun. It's funny that you've kind of come full circle, right? you started with Trader. You've done a bunch of stuff. You're able to make your way back home, I guess that's what we'll say, right? Now, the cool thing is being, in that position, all those different positions that you had, you've seen the opportunity of how digital marketing has evolved within the automotive industry. And look, digital marketing in automotive is very, very different than anything else out there. I mean, even when I try to hire people in, they're just amazed the pace and how fast things are changing so quickly, But I'm curious, because since you have seen, digital marketing and especially agencies kind of evolve from print all the way into these digital marketing agencies, like what does a agency to you look like in 2021, or what should it look like? I'm curious.
An agency in 2021. See, the thing is, like, when digital agencies came about, there was a lot of cloak and dagger.
Yes.
Right. So you got away with, for several years, you could do nothing basically and get away with it, because what happens is the dealer doesn't understand what was going on. It sounds good. They know they have to be there. So a lot of agencies, and to this day still do the same thing, is that they don't really do anything with your spend. They're a set it and forget it, right? It's an automated sort of thing. And that's why the recent Think Dealer, I talked a lot about change history and things like that, ways to spot check your agency to say, hey, are you really actually doing something? You bring all these analytics and everything always looks great. But are you actually doing anything? Like, what are you doing exactly? And so I find that the ones that advance in 2021 are the ones that are more transparent. So they give you a dashboard that you can look at. You can see your spend at all times. When they come to a meeting, they're showing you your change history report, or they're coming up with different strategic angles. They're not just saying, hey, what do you want to do? It's they're coming in with meat, so that when you have the meeting, GM comes into the meeting, they want to sell cars. They don't want to be the marketers. Like, you have to come in with a plan. This is the plan. Do you like it? Yes. Do you like these two parts? Good. You don't like this one? Great. Oh, you have that other one? Great. Good. Boom. Done. Meeting done. Let's go. You go sell cars and I'll go market them.
Yep. Exactly. You know what, though, I've seen a lot is kind of that shift between a data-driven agency versus a creative-driven agency. And I think for, a lot of agencies between 2010 and 2015, had a lot to do with creative. Yeah. And then moving into 2015 up to 2020, I hate to say it, but we got very VIN specific with our efforts. You know, it seemed like VIN specific marketing was the key, and just pump out as many display ads and search VIN specific search ads as you possibly can. And now we're getting into 2021, and I feel like we've now entered into another shift, right? Where, you know, with like, you know, agents or big networks like Facebook and Instagram and Google, and changing their targeting parameters and who we can target and who we can't target. Special ad formats, you know, if you're running financing, which we do, every single one of us do, right? So it's funny how everything's kind of, the complexity of everything's also kind of shifted, but I think it's actually shifted back to being a data first, but creative second kind of. So it's almost kind of a combination of the both of what the last 10 years has kind of built. But I'm with you, man. The agency has changed a lot in 2021, and if they're not focused on not just the ad data, but if they're not bringing in the website data and the third-party marketplace data, if they're not looking at everything, all right, then it just doesn't necessarily think that that's probably a great agency to work with. Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, see, here's what I think. This is growing up, and this is very clear to me. When I was growing up, I was digital first. I never took a marketing course, by the way. I was digital first, and there was a lot of people who had marketing 101. So as I was going through my career, most people didn't have digital, but they did have the marketing 101. Mm-hmm. Now, most people have the digital, but they don't have the marketing 101.
That's true,
right?
Isn't it?
And that's so key, because I'm like, you lost that. There's somewhere, you know, it's interesting. I'm going to tell you, and it's not in my current position, but I was in another position where, because I was forward side, so I would sit and listen to vendors. There were meetings where all we did was look at numbers, like analytics.
Yeah.
Numbers. Never saw one ad. Never saw one message, even a sentence that's going to the public. Never saw, even if there was a logo, even if the logo was incorrect.
Yep.
Never saw any of that. And I'm like, what did we just do here? Like, we went over numbers, and these young digital marketers, a lot of them, they're just happy with that. Oh, that went up, that went down, that did this, that did that. And it's like, you know, there's two parts to it. One of them is like, why did it do it? Did you look at the ad as to why it went down? You don't just move things around. There's a creative aspect to it, to attract more people, like to increase the click-through rate or cost per click, whatever it is that you're looking for. And even just the messaging, because when you see the impressions come in, you're saying, okay, that many people saw this message. Well, what was the message? Actually, it's funny. There's a big dealer group. I remember there was an issue that why did this go down? Why, whatever it was, my KPIs went down.
Yep.
Okay, no problem. What is your, okay, cool. The KPIs went down. Let's do something about it. That's what I'm here for. And this was one of my first calls with them. So, okay, so what's your brand message? Like what's on your ads?
Mm-hmm. Because $158 bi-weekly ain't going to do it anymore.
But he looked at me and he didn't even know. I said, "Are you running bi-weekly ads? Like what is in the ad? Like, have you seen the ads?" And he just sat back, and it's like I caught him. Like, he hadn't even looked at a display ad, at a search ad, at his social ads. He just was looking at numbers for the past 6 months.
Isn't that crazy?
Not really.
It's nuts that you see that, but you know what? I have seen a shift though. Haven't you kind of seen that shift where maybe it's because there's a lot of new blood coming into automotive. There's a lot more younger dealer principals than I've ever seen in the past. Like the amount of dealer principals that I've visited, in this last year over video calls, I'm surprised to see that average age has come down significantly. Probably by 10 or 20 years, based on the people I'm sitting in with and having these conversations with. But no, man, I mean, it blows my mind how much ad spend gets spent out there. It's like, for the longest time, I think as an industry, we just wanted to do digital marketing so we can check out the proverbial box that it's done. It's like, check, done. I don't know what's going on. Don't care what's going on. I'm just glad I'm paying the bill and it's being done. So I'm out, right? But I think in the last year, probably in the last maybe even 2 years, that's been fundamentally shifted. Where now, the dealership wants to participate a lot more, or I guess what it is they've gone to enough conferences and read enough books and listened to enough podcasts. hopefully mine, then now they actually want to have a conversation. This is actually a great segue into the next topic I want to bring up with you, because I think, maintaining that agency-client relationship is become more important now than has ever been before. But at first, I think we kind of have to define it and then figure out kind of the best practices to maintain it. But it really is creating a working relationship. It's not just signing a check and handing the money over anymore, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be accountable to what you're doing. You got to bring the strategies that you implemented last month have to be at the forefront of this month. What did we do? We did this, and this. How did it work? These three worked. This one didn't. Okay, that one didn't work. What are we going to do now? And that's how you should approach it. And that's how I try to train my team is, these are the kinds of things we need to look at moving forward, because, you don't want to just sit there and just have a meeting. One of the clear indications, I think, when you're not doing that properly is the cancellation of a meeting. So if you're running performance reviews or analytics or whatever it is, and people are canceling on you, or now we'll do it next month or this and that, that means you're not doing your job. Because I could tell you, for me, I barely ever get a cancellation and I try to instill that into my team too. Why? Because every meeting I'm trying to build so much value. Even though it's an hour every month, it's an hour. And so I need to bring value to that hour. And you need to see that there's value. And so then they want to be part of the meeting. They'll never cancel on you. So anyone out there, any digital marketer, if there's a lot of people canceling your meetings, up your game, because they won't cancel meetings if they see value.
Well, that's actually a good point. And I think let's talk a little bit about kind of value, right? So, I've been calling my meetings strategy sessions for probably the last 5 years.
Awesome.
And it's funny because, most of my clients have never asked for that. They've always asked for a performance review, right?
Sure.
And it's only been in the last probably 12 months that I've now have clients asking me, "Hey, Jason, we just we just got our new forecast. All right, can we sit down and do a strategy session?" I'm like, doesn't that just makes me feel so good? Because now they're seeing it. They're seeing that these are not marketing calls. All right. Or let's talk about the creative, or let's talk about what biweekly payment we're promoting next week. They're like, and I think that's one of the best practices for maintaining a good agency client relationship is that the agency has to be very intimate with the dealership's forecast, goals, and objectives. Right. And the funny thing is, like, if you're a dealership and you're watching and listening right now and you're not sharing that information on a regular basis, then how can you really effectively hold your agency accountable? Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, analytics are only as a guide to your strategy, and I think they've become too much the focus of the session.
Yeah,
right. You only use those numbers to draw conclusions and create something for the dealer. That's the only reason you have them. You don't just read numbers. There's a KPI that's going down. Okay, why is it going down? There's other KPIs that are going up, but are they going up for the right reasons, right? Like, I could get a lot of clicks for, Dodge Challenger Hellcats. Is that worth your time? Is that worth what we're doing? Am I facetiously saying, hey, we got an increase in clicks because the Hellcat came out or
Exactly.
whatever? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that selling you more cars? You have one Hellcat a year in sale, maybe. Right. So then that's what you have to bring to the table is, did your clicks go up because we're bidding on your name? A lot of agencies do that. Oh, all these clicks went up. We're getting so many leads. Meanwhile, 99% of those calls on your brand name is, hey, is Joey there? Or, can I get parts?
Exactly.
Like if that's and again, it's all about strategizing. It could be that you have to do that. So if your name's Toronto Honda, then you bring in and say, well, listen, we have to bid on your name because there's no other real way to say Honda in Toronto. Right. But if you have some big long name, Alex McDonald Ford in PI, something like that, somebody's going to put that in, wants to come see you. Let's strategize on something else. Like, what else do you want to do? Do you want a Conquest, the Ram 1500, whatever it is? Bring that to the table, and then you'll have a better meeting.
I'm with you on that 100%. I mean, look, if you're going to squeeze every ounce that you possibly can out of the agency that you're going to be working with, then the relationship of sharing data back and forth is kind of mandatory, right? And look, I mean, we kind of going back to that original topic, we're talking about what to look for in an agency in 2021. All right, if the agency is just coming to you with pre-boxed, all right, templates and creative efforts, and they're not coming to you with an actual strategy that's catered to your business, run for the hills.
Yeah. Actually, honestly, what one of the keys that you should look for in an agency in automotive, not only just now in 2029, but anytime, is proactiveness.
Yeah, that's a good one.
100% proactiveness. Like this is dealership side experience now. This is where this comes out is first of the month. Let's go. What's going on? What are the offers? What do we want to do? Do we want to go above and beyond? Is it a good offer? Let's get this going. Right at the beginning of the month. And an agency's got to come to you at the beginning right away and say, hey, listen, I got a plan for you. Let's do this. And I found that all the GMs that I work with throughout the years, the ones who are proactive at the beginning, because I'm proactive. So if they were proactive with me or even just on their own, when they were proactive with their dealership, they're the ones that always won out, because by the time the 20th hits and near the end of the month, these guys are already pretty much near target. They're cruising because it's always an influx at the end. And it's the other guys who started slow, waited, and they're the ones that have to catch up. And then if there's an agency comes in, first, second week, what's going on? What do you guys want to do? What's the Ford offer again?
Oh no, that's so true. But that's actually, look,
you've already lost.
That's kind of like relationship 101 too, right? We're talking about best practices and maintaining an agency and client relationship. And to your point, is like communication, right, is key to every single relationship. And it's, if the agency is not communicating back to you and you're not communicating to the agency, then how in the world can you ever expect that? Look, I think the theme for this year for a lot of dealerships is to get the biggest bang they can out of every single buck that goes out there. All right. And to do so, like, they really need to maintain a relationship between themselves and their agency. And the core to that is communications, like you're talking about. I want to shift our conversation just a little bit here, because we had a chance to talk a little bit about this before we hit the record button, but digital marketing automation seems to be kind of the new buzz word out there. And you know how our industry loves buzzwords and terms. Oh my gosh, we love our 4-letter or 3-letter acronyms and our 4-letter words. And anytime we can create a buzzword out of something, we will most definitely do so. So look, there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of snake oil behind digital marketing automation. I'd love to kind of get your take on it, though.
So automation definitely will improve your performance. There's no doubt about it. Automating ads, using the automation to make strategic bid changes, copy changes, changing prices as you change them. Some of the stuff we do at Traffic is important to lower CPC. So in other words, lower your cost per click, cost per user. And that will increase your performance, whatever it is. You're going to pay less per click. It'll increase 15, 20, 30, 40%. You always have to combine automation with humanation, is what I call it.
Strategy, right? Yeah.
Yes, because so the computer does its job. And that's good. That's going to get you low cost per clicks. But robots, they pull in sentences that might be weird. They're not customer facing, right? They're looking at AI or whatever it is. And so then the human part of it is, and it's actually been proven that then automation boosts maybe whatever it is, the percentages that I mentioned, and then the humanation aspect pushes it up even another 15%. Because now you're putting that touch, the branding touch of the dealership, what they want to get their message out. Are they the best rated dealership in their city? Say it. Why wouldn't you say that? A computer can't think that. It's the human that has to think that and put that in order for then the two of them to work together. You got your automation going, creating your ads. I know you talked about the VDP advertising. I think it's very important to advertise all your pieces of inventory. But at the same time, that ad can't just say the price. It's got to say, hey, visit us. We're the #1 rated Kia dealership in Burlington, etc. Whatever it is. That angle, that marketing angle has to be there in order to complete the increase in performance that you're looking for.
Well, that is that humanization portion of it, right? Like, I mean, it's like, we can't just expect, I mean, look, if you're talking to a vendor right now, which I'm sure a lot of you guys out there watching and listening are probably talking to a vendor, and if they start talking to you about digital marketing automation, that's great. There's not that there's anything wrong with it, but this is not the Staples easy button where you just kind of hit the button and the computers do it all for you. Like this is not it's not the end of the world. It's not Terminator doing everything for us, but it is. It's how we use automation just to better our efforts. All right, that's the key to it. So now, if you hear the words AI, be careful. Because it's a great buzz term that we love to use right now, and so much stuff out there is being claimed to be AI because I guess that's what people should be buying into. When majority of it's really machine learning. Like I do this, then I learn from this, and then that kind of branches off, and so on and so forth. Look, don't be afraid of digital marketing automation. That's what me and Ivan are saying. Just understand who you're working with and how they're utilizing it to better your efforts. But just because you hear the word automation, don't think it's just the easy button. Here's another topic I want to kind of talk about, kind of lead into as well. And this is something we were joking about earlier, because we've been in the business long enough. It's just where we've seen these kind of transitions, right? Hey, I was thinking about this earlier. I didn't bring it up. Do you remember the e-price button?
Yeah.
Do you rember that?
It's still around.
It's still, it blows my mind. It's still around, right? But do you remember like 2008 or something like that? 2005, 2008, we could put an e-price button on a dealership's websites and like 40% more leads happen, even though a customer never actually got an e-price.
Yeah.
Right? But we were talking about this. In fact, we're talking about attention versus leads, right? And kind of how those strategies change.
All right.
And it's so funny because, we find that either people are focusing on attention or they're focusing on leads, and they're never really kind of focusing on the both. But I'd love to kind of get your thoughts on attention versus lead strategies. What's better, or how do we combine the two?
Yeah, so you're right. Leads was the be all end all, 2014 or 2013 to 2018, I think, 19. But since then, lead generation is not the be all end all. Believe me, it's not, because most young people today do not submit leads. And also, websites are so advanced. They have all of the information, all of the photos, the pricing, there's a description. If you have digital retailing, there's also a biweekly price. You're cash down. There's the current OEM offer. You can actually apply and get into a bank to get bank approved. There's so much information there that why do you need to ask a question? There's no reason. All the info is there. Like, let's say, I'm only aware, but on Trader T Advantage websites, on an SRP, there's pretty much all the information you need. 100%. You don't even need to submit a lead.
Yeah, I mean, look.
I remember photos.
Like, I remember my first dealership's website was like 99. Okay, and the funny thing, we didn't call them leads back then. We called them inquiries. And the reason the inquiry came in is exactly what you said, Ivan, is because there wasn't enough information on there.
Yeah.
So people had to ask a question. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's okay. Yeah. So there's so much information there that why would you submit a lead? You should be proud of the fact sometimes that you're not getting leads in a way because your website is doing what it's supposed to do, is giving the information that you require in order to make a decision. And think about this. We're of a generation now that's gone through a complete 360 with this. We submitted leads, and what happened? The guy emails you in 2 hours. He gives you a call in 6 hours. He follows up again in 3 days. He follows up in a week. Yep. Then you buy a car somewhere else or whatever it is. You might even buy off them. Then you're on their email marketing list the next month. Then you're in a sale event. So why would you go through all that? We all know that. So why would you put in an email when you can just go in? And you don't have to be a part of any of that. You have the information, you go in, and you get serviced. And again, when you're looking at your site, make sure you have all of that information. So, if you're looking for a 2021 Ford Escape, you search it, you click it, the ad looks great, goes onto the site, there's all the Ford Escapes, and you also talk about, SEO wise, you have a 2021 Ford Escape page listing the differences between the model year, listing the differences between the trims. All the info's there. He doesn't need to submit a lead. They don't need to submit a lead. They're just going to come and visit you because you have all of that information ready for them.
Well, and it's a mindset change, right? Like we as an industry have to just kind of embrace the fact that we are giving up this information. But we need to respect the customer that they have the information, right? So then that changes kind of the strategies. It's like, I'm not saying we need to stop having lead generating strategies. And by the way, I actually really do hate the word leads.
Totally
I would rather call it like
yeah.
opportunities, because that's really what they are. They're an opportunity to have a conversation. All right. No one's coming out and saying like, sell me the car right now. Well, maybe a very small percentage of people are, but attention is a big one. And so many things have changed in the way that we can create attention. Like I'll give you, for example, like let's talk a little bit about remarketing, or the death of the cookie, the cookie wars. I love that name. I love that name. But I mean, look, as an industry, we've built so much of our digital marketing strategies around you come to my website and then I get to remarket to you 117 times over the next 30 days over every single platform
90
humanly
days,
possible.
90
right?
days.
90 days, right?
90 days.
You know,
come on, buying cycle. You got to go the whole way, Jason.
You got to go the whole buying cycle. That's right. Exactly. You know, but so many things have changed this last year, right? You know, what Apple's done with the new operating system, what Facebook has changed as far as their retargeting options. Google is going to now come out and do the same. So what are some good examples of attention strategies that are relevant today for 2021?
Well, it's always good to have remarketing audiences, not only on your website, but when I was part of the Ford program, still today, you get access to the Ford.ca remarketing list, which is good. This is a great audience that's into your vehicles. I've always seen it as being a great click. Same thing with traffic. So traffic, we use the autoTRADER.ca marketplace audiences for our dealers. And again, you're just bringing people who are in market, and you're having an additional sort of audience that you'll catch their attention because they've already visited you on the VDP, and now they're seeing your ads everywhere. So that's one of the strategies. Another strategy that I would definitely encourage, and I've always encouraged it, is YouTube. We talked about YouTube last time on the previous podcast.
And still, I haven't seen a huge shift. Have you?
I have. Yeah, I love YouTube. Love YouTube. And you know what, Jason? Because it's what we talk about. YouTube is old school impressions. You're not lead generating there.
Exactly.
You're gaining impressions. Okay, that skippable ad format it works fantastic. Why? You can get 40,000 impressions and only pay for 10,000 of them. So 30,000 of them skip. As long as you do the video right and you message your brand name or your dealer name or even your offer, if you're doing that in the first 5 seconds, guess what? 40,000 people have now viewed your ad, 30,000 of them for free. And that is so critical. And, this is something that you and I should talk about, is impressions is a great KPI. It's not looked at as much anymore.
It is. I mean, think about it. Like, this is going like seriously marketing 101, right? Like,
exactly.
It's all about reach over frequency.
Exactly.
So it's like, I'm going to be able to reach 30,000 people, and my goal is to have a frequency or maintain a frequency of 10 times over a 30-day period, right? And this is super old school. So, when you thought about newspapers, that's what you thought about. The first thing you asked them was the reach. How many people does the newspaper reach? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
What's the frequency that I can put an ad in there? Same thing with radio. Radio is all built on reach and frequency. And then for some reason, we got into digital marketing, and we kind of like spaced on that one. It's like no, that's fundamental reach over frequency strategy has lived for the entire time that marketing's been out there, but I'm surprised to see that it doesn't get included or talked about enough anymore. No?
Exactly. What I think, I call it the newspaperization of digital marketing is what I call it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Which is going back to the old school now, because now we're over. I guess it was about 8 years there where it was fun. It was cool. There's leads. You can see the analytics lead. It's still about impressions. And it's funny because for the first, 6,000 years of humanity, digital marketing was always about marketing was always about impressions for the first 6,000 years of humanity. And for about 7 years there, up until even now, it's not. And that's not right. Have you ever submitted a lead for a Samsung TV?
No.
You know what a Samsung TV is?
I just bought one, so yeah, no.
But you know what a Samsung TV, how is you know what a Samsung TV is? That they even sell TVs. Impressions.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And that's a great point. And I think, for anybody out there watching and listening right now, look, maintain your lead / opportunity generating strategies, but really make sure that you do have a solid attention strategy for both new customers and existing customers. And then that can go into measuring then engagement, which could be a whole nother podcast on its own. So I won't go down that path, but we could have a whole podcast just on engagement optimization. You know what? The one thing I will have to say that I'm hearing a lot less these days about, which I'm so thankful, is the word attribution. I don't hear that nearly as much as I did, a couple of years ago. So I'm glad, but that's because that reach over frequency strategy has now come back into play. Just to kind of switch our topic a little bit, because I know we're getting towards the tail end of our time. What are some actionable items that we should be doing today in our marketing efforts, to better our results over, let's say, the next 30, 60, 90 days? Like, what are something that we could be doing right now? I'd love to get your thoughts.
Start taking a look at how much you're paying cost per click. Really ask that about your agency. Get all your models, the important ones actually all the models that you have, and start asking your agency, what am I paying for a 2021 Hyundai Tucson? What is the price of that? What am I paying for my brand name? Because there's a major difference right now in a low-level agency to a high-level agency and cost per click.
Yep.
And I'm talking like over thousands of dollars to spend you could save when you're paying 50 cents a click for a keyword that another agency is paying $5 a click. It's a major difference. On the Think Dealer that we just recently did at Traffic, I speak about that. If I can throw you the URL, Jason, if anybody wants to see that. But that is critical, because now you're talking about, are you really automating? Are you really performing? Are you really doing the things that you're saying you're doing? Because if you're paying $6 for a Ram 1500 cost per click, believe me, you're overpaying. And you're talking about 2,000 clicks at $5, where you can be paying 50 cents a click for the same amount of money. So that's one that's very important. Two, I like being proactive. 2022s are starting to land. You want to be at the forefront of having those vehicles, or letting people know that you have these vehicles. So here's an impression play, Jason. Let people know that you have that 2022 Acura MDX coming. You have it, or you got the inventory
showing.
Where the Mach-E, you've got it. These proactive strategies that you can do now. Like right now, if I was a Nissan dealer, because I know you got a Nissan.
Yeah.
Aria, right now.
Oh, I know.
On your page.
I think on your page
one. SEO. What's that?
I think I might get one.
An Aria. Oh, yeah. They're beautiful.
Oh,
that's gorgeous.
I was thinking. I look. We can go squirrel on our podcast whenever we want, but you brought it up, so I'm going to bring. I seriously think I can go electric. I was thinking about that because you think about it, like the infrastructure with dealerships has gotten so much better, and I pretty much, even though I drive almost 5,000 to 8,000 kilometers a month, I drive from dealership to dealership to dealership.
Sure, yeah,
and over 70% of my clients have charging stations now. I'm like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think I could do this, and plus it would look really cool wrapped in orange.
I have actually, you're right. I have a charging station here. My wife got Danielle, she got a Mach-E, Mustang Mach-E coming in June. Yeah, in white. So yeah, we're really electric here for sure. I have an order on a Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring, which is a plug-in hybrid. Yeah. So electric, all the way. And that's another point too. EV's coming. Get that on your site. Be the EV dealership. Believe me, in a couple of years, you'll be SEO number 1 on that stuff. So again, just think about what's going to happen. What we don't do in auto and never have is a content calendar.
I know,
a yearly
right?
marketing calendar. Yeah. Every other, like in e-commerce, they had a marketing calendar, like of what was happening. In auto, for whatever reason, because we're month to month, I guess, we don't do it, but it's so critical because you can predict when vehicles are landing and create strategies for them. So you create an SCM campaign now for 2022s that are landing. Like the Tucson's a good example. Beautiful car. Could be SUV of the year.
That's a great example, right? Like we should be putting, like I'm with you on this. In fact, actually, I mean, we have some of our clients that do this now, and then you try to get them. But this is actually a great action for anybody watching, listening out there right now. All right, is that you got to be thinking 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
All right. If you like. To be calling and asking your agency now to create content about the 2022 Tucson that just landed, man, that was not a crowd. You should have been talking to them in February. all right,
Yeah,
about creating out
yeah.
those landing pages. So it's like, it's coming, it's exciting, right? And then I would say, 'cause I would love to get your thoughts because I like this strategy. Content month one, a coming soon soft SEM play. And then the
Yeah.
third month is a scheduled to kind of the test drive, schedule your test drive. It should be coming in the next 2 weeks. Be the first to drive. Like, what do you think? Is that a solid strategy?
I love it. That's awesome. And that's what you need, is what you just did there. That's a plan that you're going to bring to a dealership, Jason, and it's something that we would bring as well. And it's solid. It addresses everything a dealer, he's not thinking. He's thinking, well, how many cars can I sell this month? You're doing the thinking for him 3 months down the line.
Yeah.
So when 3 months down the line hits, you've already created that plan and you're already ahead of everyone else. Like, it's just like, proactive marketing versus reactive marketing. And you're right. Anyone now with the Tucson, they missed the boat. Start thinking about what 2022s are coming out in 3 months, 4 months, whatever the case may be. And that way you'll be ahead of the game instead of just reacting last minute.
Exactly. We are such a reactive industry. It's like, stop planning things out a month in advance. Always have a rolling 90-day, and I love the fact that you brought up the calendar, because I think that is such an actionable item that dealerships can bring up right now.
Yeah.
Okay. There are foundational marketing that you're going to market every single month, no matter what the programs are.
Exactly. Yeah.
No matter what you're doing, you're never going to not market your RAV4s. You're never not going to market your Corollas. Like, that's never going to go away. All right. Another one, loyalty. Loyalty should not be a quarterly event. All right. You have loyalty offers all year long. There should always be some foundational loyalty, strategy that goes all the way across the 12-month mark. Right. But then there should be these kind of like quarterly things, especially for a lot of manufacturers now, because inventory levels are changing so rapidly.
Yeah.
You have to be planning 90 days out, or you're going to be screwed. If you wait 30 days, it's not going to work. Okay, so just to elaborate a little bit more, actionable items that we can do today in our marketing efforts, knowing that there's a lot of people out there that are having inventory issues, what would you recommend are some great actionable items that they can do right now, knowing that inventory can be a little crazy for the next few months?
Couple strategies. One, I would say, is the pre-order pages, 2022s, like I mentioned. Pre-order pages are very important now. And of course, combine with your SEM agency to be able to market that effectively via social and search. It's a really good social play. But you have to have that on your website. And because you want to keep the ball rolling, right? You don't have inventory, but you still want to meet people. And like we talked about, the remarketing lists, you still want to have those. You're keeping people in the wheelhouse. You still have them for 90 days, remember, because they're going to click on an ad, come to your site. You don't have the car, but you gave them the information. They can pre-order if they'd like on a form. Make sure you include the Castle compliant checkbox, because that's going to be able to allow you to build a list of potential clients, so that when the vehicle does come out, right, whatever the Stinger, any vehicle that you have that's coming out, you have a list to email, right? So now you have an email marketing play. And then on top of that, what happens too is there's a lot of times people are interested in a vehicle and they need a vehicle immediately. Actually, I have a story about the Ranger. In 2018, it was announced that the Ford Ranger was going to come out in 2019. Mm-hmm. And of course, doing the research, we saw that there was a lot of Ford Ranger searches, right? And that's something that if you're really into digital, you look at the search volumes, things like that. So we said, okay, how can we capture these Rangers? They're not around. Oh, there's a lot of interest in them because it's a reboot. It's going to be a great vehicle. What do? And it's kind of similar to now, inventory shortage. You do a pre-order page.
Oh, see, what
happened with that was you give them all this information, which is great. Sometimes they need a vehicle immediately. And so the sales reps, now you have your sales reps meeting new people, because that's important too. Sales reps meeting people, establishing friendships and things like that, relationships. And now this, now when the Ranger comes out, before it came out, they might say, oh, you know what? I don't want to wait 8 months or whatever the case may be for the Ranger. Maybe do you have like a base XLT or something smaller that maybe I can have, because they're not ready to be they want to be in the market immediately, but the Ranger's not available. So you should always be advertising at all times in order to keep the wheelhouse going.
That's actually pretty cool. I really like that kind of strategy. In fact, actually, you know what? That's something I would love to see on VDP pages right now. And I think I've only seen it maybe a handful of times, is we do have to have a lot more discussion around pre-order.
Yeah.
Okay. Pre-order. And you know what it is? It's the best marketing message out there is the one that's most transparent and honest. And if you're just honest with your clients to say, hey, look, inventory is going to be rough for the next year. All right. You know, like we encourage them to do a pre-order, show them the value in having a pre-order. All right. And just don't be afraid to do that. I mean, you know, it's funny. It's like the automotive industry. We struggle with that because we focus on such a 30-day volume. But, you know, like I bought a travel trailer this year, and, you know, I was talking to the salesperson, and he doesn't look at it a 30-day. He looks at it on a yearly, because people are putting orders in a year in advance. Yeah. Like, you know, I'd order my travel trailer like a year in advance. Right.
I'm an example. I have 2 pre-orders in right now.
Do you?
Two pre-orders. Yeah.
Which pre-orders do you have?
The Mach-E. Well, the Mach-E, Danielle's getting a Mach-E off Victory Ford in Chatham. Nice. And then I'm waiting for a Lincoln Corsair. I pre-ordered. We both pre-ordered. See? So 2 examples right there. Pre-ordered. I'll wait it out. It's cool. It's all good. That's the vehicle I want. That's what I'm honing in on. And I'm going to wait till they come out. So there's nothing wrong with pre-order. Like I said, it keeps the wheelhouse going. It keeps your sales reps meeting people, keeps your name out there. And like I said, if you can do it at a cost-efficient way, with lower CPCs and things like that, you can't lose with that strategy.
I agree with that. I definitely don't think you can. And I actually have a dealership I was talking to the other day. Now, get this, I thought this was pretty cool what they were doing. And now I'm not saying it's the wrong or right thing to do, but I thought it was neat that he was doing it, is that he was paying half of the commission on the pre-orders. Okay. Because they were doing so many pre-orders. And it's sometimes deflating when you have the staff that are always working off of commission to be selling things that are 6-9 months out in advance. Sure. You know, now look, obviously if the sale falls apart, they wrote it out so they can, you know, bring back, or, you know, that commission. But I mean, I thought it was super cool that he was willing to do that. And then the cool thing is then the mindset of the dealership changed, and now they were embracing pre-orders. And I was like looking at his numbers. I'm like, he's going to have a really good winter. Like he's going to go into winter with 30, 40 units pre-sold for November, December, January, February. Like it is going to be a great winter for him. But anyways, I know it's towards the tail end of our time today. We've had some great conversations around what to look for in agency in 2021, some of those best practices of maintaining those relationships between agency and client, marketing automation. You know, how can we kind of make sure it's not snake oil, but it's real and it's important, and, you know, just to ensure. Check it. Yeah, exactly. How to spot check it. Attention versus lead strategies. I'm so glad we talked about that, because that's one that's just.
There's a lot of people need to change their mentality on that one.
So much mentality needs to change there. And then I think you nailed it, Ivan, on some great actionables that people can make changes right now. Embrace that pre-order messaging. Ivan's a great example of it. He's just pre-ordered 2 units. I'm looking at doing the exact same thing. Once they tell me I can pre-order an electric F-150, I'll tell you I will be there.
The Lightning.
You know,
Tonight's the night.
Tonight's the night. So I'm once they say that, once there's a form and I can give them my deposit and stuff like that, I'm in. But hey, Ivan, before I let you go, for everyone out there that's watching and listening right now and has really enjoyed this conversation, would love to connect with you and maybe even continue the conversation, what's the best way to do so?
Sure. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, would probably be the easiest. You can also email me, ivan.sandoval@traffic.ca, trffk.ca. Love to have these conversations. Actually, at Traffic, we do have webinars too, that we go over best practices and things like that. So definitely you can reach out to me in that manner. And I always like talking automotive, and I always like talking to digital. Anybody in the industry, GM, new marketer, old school marketer, whatever, it doesn't matter. I always like talking digital. So yeah, please reach out. And if anybody is privy to watching Think Dealer, we did a Think Dealer at Traffic with autoTRADER a couple months ago, which has some great information.
It's cool, yeah.
You can message me and I'll send you out the YouTube link on that webinar.
That's awesome. Hey, Ivan, thank you so much for taking the time to jam with me today. This has been a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this again soon. Have yourself an amazing
100%.
day.
You too. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting. Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.